Hey everyone! Today we're diving into one of the most incredible, most important systems on our entire planet, forests. Now, they're way more than just a pretty place to go for a hike, you know? As you can see, the real deal is that they are our lifeline. So let's find out why. But let's start with a basic question. What actually makes a forest? I mean, when you think of one, you probably just picture tons and tons of trees, right? But is that all there is to it? Well, as we're about to find out, a forest is so much more than just a bunch of wood and leaves.
To really get it, we have to start at the very beginning, with energy. I mean, every single living thing needs energy to survive. So how does a forest, this huge community of life, get its fuel? Well, get this, it makes its own, using billions of tiny little green power plants.
And the name of this incredible power-making process is photosynthesis. Honestly, you can just think of it like the forest's own personal chef. It takes a few really simple ingredients from the environment and cooks up this amazing, energy-packed meal. And it's not just for the plant itself, but for pretty much every other living thing in that forest. Okay, so here's the recipe. The plant grabs some carbon dioxide from the air and sucks up water from the soil. Then, using the energy it gets from sunlight, it works some kind of magic. It transforms those simple things into carbohydrates. That's the plant's food. And then, as this fantastic bonus for us, it releases the oxygen that we all need to breathe. How cool is that?
So that brings up a really good question, right? We all know that trees need a ton of water and minerals from the soil to get so huge. But how do they actually pull it off? Are their roots really doing all that hard work by themselves?
Well, not exactly. It turns out there's this secret partnership going on right under our feet. These thread-like fungi actually team up with the tree's roots, acting like a giant extension cord almost. The fungi are amazing at absorbing extra water and minerals for the tree, and in return, the tree shares some of that sugary food it just made. It's just perfect teamwork. All right, so the plants have created all of this energy, but where does that energy go next? That's what brings us to the Great Forest Food Web, which is really just a fancy way of asking, who eats who? Let's start with a few simple clues, like a little detective story. So, we've got a grasshopper that eats grass, we have a frog that eats the grasshopper, and then we have a snake that eats the frog. This is a classic who eats who puzzle. Let's piece this thing together.
Okay, so here's the most important part. You have to follow the energy. It all starts with the grass, the producer, because it makes its own food from the sun. Then a grasshopper comes along. That's our primary consumer, and eats the grass to get that energy. Next up, a frog. The secondary consumer eats the grasshopper. And finally, a snake. Our tertiary consumer eats the frog. See? Each step is just a transfer of that original energy that came from the sun. Okay, so we've seen how energy is made and how it moves through the food web. Now let's zoom out and look at the actual structure of the forest. It's not just some flat area with trees, you know? It's much more like a living, breathing skyscraper, with different floors, and each floor has its own unique community of residents.
So we can basically break it down into three main zones. Way up at the top, you have the canopy. Think of it as the roof of the forest, where all the sun hits. Right below that is the understory, which is a lot shadier and cooler. And then way down at the bottom, we've got the dark and damp forest floor. And believe me, life is completely different depending on which floor of this skyscraper you live on. The canopy is like the sunny penthouse suite. It's bright, it's bustling, and it's the perfect home for high flyers like eagles, who can spot their prey from way up high. But then you go down to the forest floor. It's dark down there. Very little sunlight makes it all the way down. This is the world of shrubs, fungi, and decomposers, the absolute expert recyclers who break down all the dead stuff and return those vital nutrients to the soil. We've looked at energy, we've looked at food, and we've looked at the structure. Now let's tie it all together with what might be the forest's most important job for the entire planet, its role as the lungs of the earth.
You see, it all works in this beautiful, perfect balance. During photosynthesis, plants are breathing in the carbon dioxide that animals breathe out. Then they breathe out the oxygen that animals, and yeah, that includes us, need to survive. It's this continuous, life-giving cycle. With every single breath we take, we are connected to this process. Plants and animals totally depend on each other.
So, let's go all the way back to our original question. What is a forest? After everything we've seen, I think we can say for sure it is not just a collection of trees standing next to each other. No, it's a deeply interconnected system. It's a living, breathing web where sunlight, plants, fungi, and animals are all linked together in this incredibly delicate balance of giving and taking. Every single part, from the tallest tree to the tiniest little fungus, has a super important job to do. Which brings us right back to this powerful statement. Forests produce the very oxygen we breathe. They are the foundation of countless food webs. They help regulate the entire planet's climate. They truly, literally are our lifeline.
And that leaves us with one final, really important thought. If these incredible ecosystems are a lifeline for us, how can we be a lifeline for them? Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.